For this next Patreon question, Eli wanted me to compare two infamous movie musicals released in 1980. Which film do you think is better, Xanadu or Can't Stop the Music? The main connection between these films is that they were the key inspiration for John J.P. Wilson to create the Golden Raspberry Awards, or the Razzies for short. Well, that is true, although I frankly consider the Razzie Awards to be a waste of an idea and not worth paying much attention. What further connects these two musicals is they were released in the same summer and attempted to capitalize on the popularity of disco in the 70s. It's a shame that they instead were released in 1980, when the genre had already started to gain backlash, resulting in both films flopping. But of the two, which do I think is better? I'm going to say Xanadu. While hardly a great film, it does have a certain amount of charm and even invention. While the plot is thin and the dialogue and acting could have been better, this is a movie where the kitschiness of it is kind of endearing in a strange way. The movie is unafraid of taking such leaps, like having Olivia Newton-John play a Greek muse who goes to Earth to inspire young artists to start a roller skating dance club. It makes more sense in context. The movie even throws in Gene Kelly, who is clearly enjoying the opportunity to star in a musical again. We get some solid musical numbers like a dance between Newton-John and Kelly in the style of his classic musicals, and a sequence animated by Don Bluth. The soundtrack, with most of the songs written by the Electric Light Orchestra, is quite wonderful, and I find myself listening to it on occasion. What makes the film slightly underwhelming is the central romance between Newton-John's muse Kira and Michael Beck's aspiring artist Sonny lacks the necessary chemistry. This is a movie where I find myself mostly waiting for the musical numbers to start up again. There are many songs that don't really contribute much to the plot, including the aforementioned animated segment. However, running 96 minutes, Xanadu does not outstay its welcome, and director Robert Greenwald's intentions with the film were definitely sincere. It's easy to see why this movie developed such a cult following as, for all of its faults, it is a curious time capsule to that era. As for Can't Stop the Music, the main idea behind this movie was to push the Village People as the band of the 80s. The problem is they had already peaked around the time the film entered production, and once it hit screens in June of 1980, the album sales had dropped. And yet the film makes a big deal about how the Village People are going to represent the sound of the 80s. Yeah, the filmmakers kind of got ahead of themselves there. Since the film is about the fictionalized formation of the Village People, it really should have been set in the late 70s. But nope, it's set in 1980, with multiple references to this new decade that hadn't even started yet when they began filming in 1979. Like Xanadu, the plot is rather thin, as it's mostly about how the music group got started, except this film is 2 hours. There are these odd comedic scenes that are not funny and just stretch out the runtime, like a random scene where a woman gets hit with a baguette. Because that was essential. They also attempt to force this romantic subplot between Valerie Perrin and a snobby lawyer played by a pre-transition Caitlyn Jenner. Alright, this was when Jenner was trying to start a film career after her success at the Olympics. Jenner is given mostly bad comical scenes to act in and has zero chemistry or any kind of spark with Perrin. Many of the musical numbers also exist, more so to include a song there, like when they go to the YMCA. Why is that scene in the movie? Because YMCA is their most popular song and we have to fit it in there somewhere. And the construction worker gets to have his own musical number because reasons. The Village People themselves are not even given real characters, as the movie prefers to focus on whatever Perrin, Jenner, and Steve Guttenberg are doing. Now, one positive I can say about Can't Stop the Music is that while watching it, I can understand why the Village People were popular in the 70s, as their songs were really catchy. Part of the reason is how repetitive the lyrics are, but a number of days after watching it, I still have that milkshake song stuck in my head. And underneath all the bad comedy scenes, there's at least a nice message on how just because someone does not conform to society's norms, as long as they're having fun and not hurting anyone, then what's wrong with that? Otherwise, Can't Stop the Music is a limp musical that definitely hurt the Village People's career more than help it. Thank you for your question, Eli.